It is my pleasure to announce to you the senior officer of the mess, Major General Mastin Robeson. General Robeson served for 34 years in the United States Marine Corps. Several of his commands included a counterterrorism task force in East Africa, 2nd and 3rd Marine Divisions, and he finished his career at the Marine Corps Special Operations Command. The General is retired now. He is the President and CEO of Intrepid Corporation. He's on the Chairman of the Board of Directors for Upstate Warrior Solution. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Major General Robeson.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. And if I could just say for a minute, the most wonderful thing about the Marine Corps birthday is the magnificent ladies who dress up and come out and look so brilliant. So thank you all for coming. And I will tell you that if there's a hero in these wars, I mean, our wounded warriors are great, but you ladies who keep the home fires burning and carry on as if life were normal are truly, truly the heroes of this war. So thank you for what you've done. Now, the mentioning of Upstate Warrior Solution, let me take a minute for a paid political announcement. Actually, it's not paid for, it's just political. Well, it's not even political, it's just an announcement. But Upstate Warrior Solution has been 2 years in coming. It has a small board of directors right now with Mike Reardon, it's Mike McKissick, and myself. It's got a staff of about 6 that include our Mr. Vice and a number of others. The design is purely and simply not to duplicate what others are doing, but to be a clearinghouse to ensure every veteran in the upstate knows how to find help for what they need. And there are 4 categories that we're focusing on. 1 is housing, 2 is jobs, 3 is education and training, and 4 is healthcare. So I see that Mr. Reardon is not here, so I'm going to scoop him tonight, and you're going to get, got any reporters in here? All right, if you're a reporter, if you report this, I will find you, and I will kill you. Okay. So it will be announced next week that there is a new agreement that will allow the Greenville hospital system to provide the VA-funded health care for our veterans here in the upstate. That means instead of driving 3 hours to drive back 3 hours, you go to the clinic, you walk down the street 1 mile, and you're served, which is a major coup for the upstate. Secondly, we're seeking the realtors across the upstate to come together and say, how do we provide affordable rent and ownership for veterans in the upstate? We're seeking 300 to 500 CEOs and presidents of companies in the upstate to say, how do I employ 1 to 4 veterans in the next 12 months? And every 12 months thereafter. And every college, university, and tech school in the upstate to say, how do I ensure that I make it easier for veterans to spend their VA benefits, their GI Bill here? So the goal would be, we believe there are over 100,000 veterans in the upstate. There are less than half of those that are signed up for VA, and less than half of those signed up who actually use the VA. We want everybody to use the VA. We want everybody to be educated, everybody to have a job and be employed, and to have health care that's close to them, and to have housing. But we don't want the government to pay for it. We, in essence, want it to be the community saying, how do we make this happen for you? So it's not more tax dollars. It's community taking care of their soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, no matter what generation they are. So that's the vision of Upstate Warrior Solutions, and you'll hear more. But that's not why we're here tonight. We're here tonight to celebrate the United States Marine Corps birthday. And we are privileged to have what I would consider what really is special about the Marine Corps represented tonight. So Patrick Timothy Brent, in my opinion, represents the greatness of our Corps. Yes, we fight battles. Yes, we win battles. Yes, we've got Marines who have been heroic in every battle and war that our nation has been in. And that is a major contribution, is the reason that we have our Corps. But I would argue to you that that's not the number one contribution the Marine Corps makes to our nation. The number one contribution is that we literally make Marines. We take scuzzy civilians like T.Brent, like Mastin, Robeson, you know, and we take them off the street corner and we actually change them. We make them different. And Nancy might say, you ruined me, but that's just her opinion, you know. But here's a man who came out of Chicago, who walked out of a home where his father walked away at an early age. And he goes in the Marine Corps, and with really no reason from his upbringing, becomes the man he is today, which is actually pretty impressive. He's a businessman and entrepreneur who is either built, revitalized, reshaped, reformed, fixed, and sold over a dozen companies. He's also a war correspondent who is right there in the March after Baghdad, has written over 150 articles for publications. He's also the publisher of 2 books. But more importantly, he's an absolute lifetime friend of the Marine Corps. I mean, you would think when you talk to T.Brent that this guy had served in the Marine Corps for 45 years and that's all he had ever done. But the Marine Corps was a small part-time job for this young corporal who served in a reserve battalion in the 24th Marines, but it changed his life forever. And he is who he is today, truly a man who is well known across the nation for his generosity, for his journalism, for his writing skills, his storytelling, his speaking. He lives in Hawaii in a high-rise with a wonderful view of Waikiki. And I don't tell you that, you know, to brag on him. I tell you that because I really believe he would say his success began when he became a U.S. Marine. And the rest of it sort of flowed from there. So it is truly a privilege to introduce a great Marine, a great friend of the Marine Corps, a great American, and a personal friend, T.Brent.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Mastin,
Aloha.
that was just the way I wrote it.
It was.
Really great.
I left 2 pieces out. You want me to put them in?
Not now. The man with the mic last. The 5,000 miles from home, here I am in Greenville for the first time. And I asked myself why. This is one charming, really nice city with great people. And I'm here also because there was 2 new books come out this last few months. Short Rations and What About the 13th Commandant. And I'll be back next year, hopefully, and I'll expect each and every one of you to have read those books. Look at me. Look into my eyes. I want each and every one to read those books. I'll expect a book report. While you're looking around, look at this room. Think about that color guard and these Marines. This is a classy place. This is one of those few places you could arrive and get intoxicated just on atmosphere, right here. A couple years ago, a Marine named Ray Smith, many of you probably heard of, said to me that when our 13th Commandant created that birthday message, he had no idea that someday we would have these lavish affairs. And he had no idea that we'd be accompanied in these affairs with probably the most charming and attractive women on planet Earth.
Amen.
Captain Hugh Poston's here. He's part of FireTeam 1, secret mission. Hugh told me that you better not come to a birthday ball without a good sea story. Did you say that? Right. And then I was asking Colonel Vogt just how. He said to me, what's the definition of a good sea story? Does anyone know that? Anyone know the definition of a good sea story? I'll tell you. A good sea story is one that doesn't lie. So tonight I have two short sea stories, both time machines. One goes way back in the past, and one goes into the future. Mastin. It goes in the year 2050. A little town called Landrum, South Carolina. We have a really senior old Marine general, and he's on his red tractor, made by International Harvester in Chicago. He's plowing along his fence line here. And remember, this guy's 2050, he's a pretty senior guy. He's kind of crumpled up, not the guy he used to be. So he's crumpled up on this tractor, he's going along, and all of a sudden there's this big bang. And a bird comes out of the sky and falls right between the fence line and the tractor. And all of a sudden, marching along the road is this huge, 6'4", about a 30-year-old dude with one of those, Abercrombie, those dude things with the shotgun shells on, a big shotgun. And he looks at this grizzled up old general, I think his neighbors call him Mastin. He looks at him and he says, hey, old timer, that bird's mine. Come on over to get it. The old general says, I'm afraid not, Sonny. Here in South Carolina, it's on my land. It's my bird. The old guy says, you know who I am? I'm Sal Leibowitz. I'm the meanest, toughest lawyer in New York State. If I don't get that bird, I'm going to sue you up one side of your body and down the other. Well, the old general, general looks up and says, you know, son, here in the Carolinas, we have a different way of handling litigation. We don't do all that lawyering stuff. Oh yeah, what's that? So the old general says, we have another way. How does it work? He said, well, in South Carolina, we have the 3-kick rule. Yeah, 3-kick rule. And the guy says, well, tell me about it. The general says, well, here's the work. You come over to the fence here. I kick you 3 times. You kick me 3 times. And it goes back and forth, and the loser loses the bird. So the guy looks at this crumpled up, old, wrinkled, 97-odd-year-old guy, says, no sweat. Comes over to the fence, and then all of a sudden, this general gets off the red tractor with the all faded red with 2 silver stars on it. He gets off, and all of a sudden, he looks like a 30-year-old Marine. He's got his utility trousers and boots and a green t-shirt. Looks pretty squared away. All of a sudden, he gets kind of invigorated. And this dude comes over. The old general walks up to him. He takes his right boot, and he plants it, boom, right dead center where the Missouri and the Mississippi meet. The guy crumples up. Then the general walks around and smacks him right in the calf. And the guy hits the deck. The general takes his time, walks around, slam right in the ribs. This lawyer guy's like, he's really suffering. He didn't have to do it. He's really suffering. So he goes, finally, after a couple of minutes, he drags himself over the fence and pulls himself up. And he gets, he's up to his wind comes back. He looks at the general and he says, okay, my turn. The general turns back towards his red tractor and says, nah, that's okay, you keep the bird. This brings us to represents the expression, once a Marine. A couple years ago, I was with another Marine named Ron Christmas. He said to me that when a young man or woman goes into Quantico or Paris Island, the only boot camp, there's some mystical force that tears open their chest cavity, and a hot iron goes in there, and it brands an eagle, globe, and anchor on their heart forever. Now, my last sea story time machine goes back to the year 1901, 1900. An Irish immigrant family from County Donegal, Ireland, comes to New York City, works in the grocery business, does do well. He goes out to Montana. They have a young man. It's a struggling family, and they find a young man just to keep things going. He's age 14. World War I is coming on, and he joins the U.S. Navy. The same young man serves in the Navy, comes out, immediately joins the U.S. Army, American Army. Serves it, hitch in the Army, gets out, comes back to Montana, and he sees the light, the great light. On 1920, 10 November, he joins the U.S. Marine Corps, serves in the Philippines, insurrection, does a fine job, comes back to Montana. He's had virtually no schooling. He marries an Irish gal named Maureen, who helps him out. They study really hard. He becomes a miner. Tough life. Finally gets enough education that he passes the test for the University of Montana. Gets his bachelor's degree, his master's degree, teaches for 10 years. Then he gets elected to the House of Congress. 7 terms. In fact, the Douglas-Mansfield Act, it gave 3 air wings and 3 divisions, and gave the Marine Corps parity with the Joint Chiefs of Staff, was created by him. Goes to the Senate, serves 24 years in the Senate, creates and gets the Equal Rights Amendment passed. Well, this man, after all these years, retires, but America's not finished with him. He's respected by both sides. He's made ambassador to Japan for 12 years. Anybody here from Japan? 12 years, he was ambassador to Japan. And he's one of the most respected ambassadors in America's history. They built a monument for him there. Finally comes home at the age of 85, but America's not finished. Both sides wanted him as a White House advisor or a roving diplomat. Extraordinary man. Finally, in 2001, at the age of 98, he dies. Obituary, 1901, 1903, 2001, Michael Joseph Mansfield. Now this extraordinary man, remember all 3 branches, Congress, Senate, ambassador, really credentialed. He could have been buried anywhere he wanted. Monument in Montana, up there in Arlington with the eternal flame, any place he wanted. But where was he buried? He's buried in Section 2, marker 49, an obscure area with the same marker as everybody else there at Arlington National Cemetery. What did it say in that marker? It said, simple marker, it said, Michael Joseph Mansfield, Private, U.S. Marines. As the general mentioned, I've been around some of today's real Marines, and I have to tell you, I'm impressed at today's Marines. I think they're the best we've ever had, far better than when I was there. I often wonder if I wore the same fabric. And when I go places like, I attend board meetings or I go to several schools where I lecture, I've had several young people ask me where one would learn leadership. And they don't really like the answer, so I give it to them as fast as I can. I didn't learn leadership in any college 101 course. I learned leadership 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at a little island off the coast of South Carolina. I learned it from every NCO and officer I met. Why? Because they were immersed in a culture of excellence, founded on virtue and discipline. Now I'd like to ask everybody here to join me in hoisting their glass to 238 years of romping, stomping United States Marines. Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
Told you, Mastin. Last on the mic, I got it.
Thanks, bro. Very good.
Inspirational, Patrick. Thank you. Patrick, Brent, would you please rise and approach the podium? EOD checked this before I boxed it up. We are presenting Patrick Timothy Brent with a pewter mug, a Marine Corps pewter mug, cast at Ton Tavern in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 2013. We're presenting it from the Marine Corps Mess of Greenville to Patrick Timothy Brent to be our honored speaker for the Marine Corps Birthday 2013. Thank you, sir.